So, how been ya? Welcome to the Black Country Craftsman's YouTube channel. This video is part 8 of the house renovation playlist, where I've purchased a 2-bedroom house to renovate for the rental market. If you'd like to find out more advice on renting houses and the things to look out for before you buy one, check out my other video, the Buy to Let Guide. So let's crack on and pick up where we left off. If you can remember, we fitted all the base units, connected up the mains water supply, and soldered the pipework under the sink. We're at a stage now where we need to be looking at fitting the wall units. Okay, I've placed the worktop on top of the base units. Now you have got an option whether you fit the worktops now or whether you wait until the wall units are fitted. It don't particularly matter. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for a little bit of a hand with the worktops, so I'm going to be looking at fitting the wall units first. So here's the setup with the wall units. So looking at it, it's looking as though I need to fit the centre one first, purely because of the height between the worktop and the underneath. So you need to work out the height of where you need to set the whole of the heights of those wall units. Now on there on the plans it's got 899, which doesn't quite work out, as I've ordered a splashback to go there, which is a steel splashback. So that splashback needs to fit in the inside of there, and the splashback is an 800 height that needs to be fitted in there. So the underneath of that needs to be 800. Now this is the bridging unit that I've bought. Okay, that needs to go on the top of there. Now, somewhere in the underneath of there, that part there, which may need this taking out, is fitting this extractor. Now, looking at one of these that's been assembled, that section there is about 40mm. So when this is fitted and that's removed, that will stick out a further 40mm from there. So roughly the height of the worktop to the underneath, we're roughly around just over 840. I'm going to give it an extra few mil, so yeah, around 843. So look at your plans if you're doing anything like this. Work it out before you start to fit your wall units. Now, extractor fan that normally fits there, I'd normally go for an extractor fan that would go to the outside of the wall, kind of a chimney effect extractor fan, but unfortunately the only way to ventilate the fumes in this case is on the side, so I've had to go for this sort of system, as I've had no choice. Okay, there's the bridging unit with the bottom piece missing from the bottom. So that fits in there like so. Now what we need to do is we need to measure, and that piece there needs to go across there. Also as well, you've got bolts that need to go through there. So even though this unit isn't designed to have that piece section there, we need to mark that up there. Also as well, we need to cut out a section for the pipe to go through there, and also a section there for the pipe to go through there, which is that diameter there. So a little bit of thought, a little bit of work needs to go into this unit before we look at putting it on the wall. Using a steel rule, measure the diameter of the funnel to the extractor. Okay, by doing some calculations and marking up, the height from the bottom of there was 150, so we need to cut a hole there. That's the top of the base, the housing unit, where the pipe needs to go through. This is the middle section, where again 150 from there to there is where that needs to cut out. Basically for where the unit's in, for that black connection there, where we need to attach the pipe to. 2 lines there for us to connect, screw this piece to. And also as well, what we need to do is we need to knock that base unit as well, which needs to be cut down to size so it all fits together. So always, if you're doing this sort of unit, always get the extractor out first, have a look, see how it works, have a look, see how it fits in your unit before you put your unit on the wall, because the last thing you want to do is fit everything together to find out that you've got to take it all down. Okay, now we have something like this. Now, I have made the holes bigger, as when I did measure up, I didn't calculate for the pipe. So, as you can see, the pipe comfortably fits through there now. Also, what I have had to do is I've had to mark and put 4 holes for the bolts to come through. Now this was a little bit awkward, like by placing it in position, marking the front edge, where the front edge come to, doing some measurements with my steel ruler, and then transferring the measurements over there. So yeah, hopefully it fits. Test the screw holes to see if everything lines up, but don't fit the extractor unit just yet. Okay, now I'm completely happy with the bridging unit. We can now look at start to fit the wall units. Okay, now this is the back of the bridging unit. As you can see, it's got a hook at the back, which, with this attached to the wall, the hook fits the back of there and basically holds the unit in place. This is a typical bracket from the inside, where you've got that screw at the top, which when you turn that screw allows that to come forwards and backwards, and that screw at the bottom allows that bracket to move up and down for adjustment. So the first thing you need to do is, what I do is I put that to the maximum height, which is there, and then I bring it down to the maximum low, mark it in the middle, and then I set that bracket somewhere in the middle. So what I then need to do, I need to hold that up. Again, I spoke on a few minutes ago regarding the splashback, that's 800 mil, and then you've got the initial 40 mil, which is that there, which is from the extractor. So the bottom of this unit here will have to sit on this line here. So when you've held it in position with it on that line, mark the top of the unit there, and then when you've marked the top and put a straight line with your spirit level right away across, like the old line is there from the old kitchen, what I then do is move over to this one because it's in setting position. I get a steel rule and I measure from the top of there to the underneath of there, which is where that measurement from that line, when you've put it in there, downwards, that will be at the position where you need to fit these brackets. So yeah, I'm going to crack on with that and I'll show you what it looks like once I've fitted it. Oh, just a quick one, don't forget to centralise it. And the way I've done that is I've tried to get that completely in line with that and the same that side. Got it in a position I'm happy with. That's the centre line, and I've just put a little mark on there, so when I hold it up in position to mark it, that line there, it's got to be somewhere in the middle of there. Okay, by placing that bracket there, roughly gives you an idea as to where you need to put a mark. So if we go for that one there, where there's the bend is there on the bracket, to that line there, basically what we need to do is you need to measure from the top of there down to that line. Also as well, you need to measure the thickness of this section here. As you can see, we've marked it, so the bracket has got to go something there, so you've got to take the consideration the thickness of that, put a mark there, put a mark where the thickness is, and then you need to fit your bracket however measurement far down it is. That's where you need to put the bracket, somewhere around there. Okay, we're all marked up now with the brackets. As you can see, the holes, that's where I need to drill. I've continued the line going across both there and there with the spirit level, so that's an indication along there as to where I need to fit the brackets moving across. Also as well, you can see the plaster patching there. So previously there has been cables there. One of them was to feed this socket here, but those, I know that those cables have been removed. Obviously, if you are concerned, for example, if those where you need to drill and there's an electric socket underneath like there was there, what you might need to do is just to remove a little bit of plaster around there, just to have a look what's in line there. And I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier on one of my other videos regarding the renovation of this house, as that's what the carpenters did, just to make sure that they're not going to drill into any cables and cause themselves any issues by doing that. So yeah, just a little bit of a tip for you regarding dodging the cables. So yeah, we'll get these brackets fitted and see if we can get this unit on the wall. Okay, there's your two brackets fitted. So let's have a look, see if this unit fits. Before you try to put him up to have a look, make sure that this bracket is extended quite past this section there, as it makes it a lot easier to hook it on the bracket on the wall. As you can see, we've got him up there. It's pretty close to the lines. Might need a minor adjustment, and also as well, there's a gap at the back there. As you can see, you need to pull it closer to the wall. Now, before I actually fit this into a permanent position, I need to fit the extractor unit in place, as it'll be very difficult when it's up here to hold the extractor unit and try and put screws in the top with the weight of it. So I'm going to fit the extractor unit before I actually fit the unit onto the wall. Okay, by tightening that one, pulling it close to the wall and tightening the underneath one, adjusting it up and down, we've got a nice level unit. It's perfectly on the mark. So there we have it, our first wall unit is fitted, all the lines are set for the rest of the ones. So we'll continue with the next wall units. I've decided to go that way as we've got a corner unit there, so that's more difficult. At some point we've got to have a filler piece in, not too sure where it'll be, as on the plans we've got a filler piece there and we've got a filler piece there, so I'm not too keen on this design here. It may be a case that I'll move that one over and put the filler piece exactly there like it is on that one, but we'll have a look at that and work that out as we go along. Okay, as I've just said, I have decided that I am going to move that filler piece. I'm going to put that filler piece in that section there. So in that bit there, you're going to need an end panel. So an end panel there, an end panel there. Those two 500 units will be tight to the extractor unit. So what I've done here is I fitted the door on the wall unit. Now, I can show you from up above, it's too big, so it needs to be marked and it needs to be cut to shape. Obviously, like the base unit doors, I have to put the door on to get the right depth. So yeah, that's nice and flush. So we'll put that tight to that, mark it up, cut it down, screw it from the inside out. Obviously being very careful to get the right thickness of the screws so you don't go through, because that face there will be seen going down there. So we'll get that sorted and get the second unit, wall unit, on the wall. Okay, we're all cut down. What I did do, when I marked it up on the inside, I got my marking gauge and done the measurements from the other side and transferred the line on the inside, because it's always better when you're cutting by hand to actually saw on the face. And the reason being is, as you can see on this side, it's caused that little corner to break away. Now of course now it doesn't really matter because that's at the back and it's on the inside, so it won't be seen. But if I'd have cut down on this side, then there's a possibility that that damage could have been there, and then you'd have had to have bought a new piece. So yeah, always cut with a panel saw on the face that you're going to see. Okay, end panel now screwed in position. I've already put that to the wall and marked it as to where that needs to be positioned. So what we need to do now is take some measurements of those two sections there, so we can fit the bracket up in this position. Roughly, you'll be looking somewhere around there. Okay, left hand bracket, obviously with the two thickness of the two panels, and the right hand bracket obviously only has the thickness of the one.
Using a G-clamp, clamp the unit together after it's been lined up. Then screw the units from the inside to hold it all together.
Okay, we've got the next base unit ready to fit, and it's the one on the opposite side of the extractor. So we've again fitted the panel on the side. It's all marked up. We've got a little bit of a problem that I've kind of touched on before. I put a line there roughly as to where the cables were. Obviously there's a couple of sockets below. So directly where I need to drill the holes, you've got your cables. Now I've done a little bit of an inspection hole to have a look to see where it is. That one to the right, we might be able to put a screw slightly angled in, just so we know we're going to miss all the cables. That one, you either leave, or I think I'm going to try and put a small little plasterboard wall plug in with a smaller screw. It's better than nothing. As long as that one goes straight into the brick and is secure, then we should be okay. Okay, we've been successful with that one. That has gone lovely into the brick. What I plan to do is you get this brown wall plug. If you put it up against there, where you touch the metal, you can see there's a little bit sticking out. So simply just nip a little bit off the bottom. So at least you've got a wall plug in there. And even if it's only a 20mm screw that goes in there, it's better than not having nothing in there at all.
Both brackets are now screwed, ready to fit the wall unit.
Okay, once again I've got this one all levelled up. I've had to put a clamp on that section there to basically pull it in, and I've found when I have pulled it in, there's a little bit of a gap that's opened up on the side, which basically, if I tighten that up as it is, it would basically put the unit on the it wouldn't be level flush. So again, like we did with the base units, when we put the packers at the back of the units to bring them out level, you probably have to do this. We'll have to do the same here as well, and I may have to do it with this one as well. I'll have to check that one just to make sure that it's all flush across the front.
The centre section is now complete. Please join me on the next one, where I'll continue to fit the rest of the wall units. Okay, if you've enjoyed this video, smash us a like, drop us a comment below, and we'll do our best to reply. And please click on subscribe, as I do plan to put more videos on in the future. I'm the Black Country Craftsman. Don't forget to tell your muckers. Learning how to fix these problems yourself is cheaper than paying someone else to do it for you. Thanks for watching.